area on Saturday, like he had talked to us earlier on the State of the Nation address. But what we can tell you is that Ibrahim Abiriga, of course, and his brother, after being shot dead, we have also learned that his brother was a private from the UPDF and he had just returned from Somalia, and it was upon the request of Ibrahim Abiriga to have him provide security for him. And we were told that Ibrahim Abiriga actually preferred at times to chauffeur him, himself. Otherwise, he is provided with for a driver and another security guard who was not available at that time. And just like he, always does in his community, because these were words coming out from, the people who are concerned about the whole incident. And they said, usually, he's a man who liked children and who liked community members around, and he would wave at everybody whenever he's passing by. And, he is noticed in his yellow Volkswagen. But also, on that day, we heard from the people that were on ground that their silence had actually been in the area for quite some time. And this means really that they had been studying the pattern and the trend that the late honorable member probably takes his route, how he comes out of his home, and stuff like that. The president tasked the security agencies to expeditiously handle or fast track and make sure that these assailants are brought to book. So he also tasked them to, keep the public, alerted and informed on whatever will be happening. And this is also to let you know that there is an official statement we can confirm from the spokesperson of the Uganda Police Force that they will have a brief, all the security agencies, including the Minister for Security, the police force, of course, that's the IGP, John Martin Zokoth-Ochola, and the sister agencies, of course, that's CMI and the rest, that will have a brief to the public, that is tomorrow, across all media, that is radio and TV. So be sure to tune in here on NTV. We will be letting you know about the time when that will happen, when they confirm, but it is confirmed that these people will be speaking to the nation tomorrow. Do endeavor to tune in and also share your comments on how your security in your area stands. And apart from that, the pictures there, that is Arua airfield, and they are now preparing, of course, to have the bodies taken out of the chopper, and they will be driven straight to the late Abiriga'S home, which is just close to the Presidential State Lodge in Arua district. The place we've been told is Anyafiao, Arua municipality. So for those who probably will be on their way today, tonight, or even tomorrow morning, as early as you can get there, that is a place you don't need to look for directions. And his final resting place, or their final resting place, because there were two of them, him and his brother, unfortunately, their final resting place will be Lukudu Village, Ramva Parish, Rhino Camp Sub-County in Lower Madi constituency in Arua district. And of course, since the unfortunate incident of the shooting of the two people, sentiments have been around security, and here at NTV we have also, spoken to some security experts to tell us how we the citizens, not just the high-profile people, can be part of providing, information to our security agencies to see that we reduce this kind of laxity and probably, such incidents from happening again. Because what we have also learned from the past is that the trend is almost the same. There are people on borders, they come and kill people and then they just walk away. And there's been a lot of promise from the government and from the security agencies that these people will be brought to book. We will wait for their statement tomorrow as they address the nation on the state of security in the country. That's Arua airfield, and what you're seeing is the bodies of the two the late Honorable Ibrahim Abiriga and his brother, Private Congo Buga Saidi, who was attached to the UPDF and had just returned from Somalia. Right, like we earlier mentioned, you can see the crowds there at the airfield, and they are being stopped from actually, reaching the plane or reaching the part where the bodies are being transferred from the plane to the ambulance. But you can see it's an emotional setting right there. Emotions are really high, and it shows you that Abiriga was a really, really good person. To those people there, they loved him as their own person, and they were happy with him. And this was his first year as member of parliament. But of course, initially he had served as RDC in Nyumbe district and in his own Arua district. And of course, before that, he took exile to Sudan and Congo. He later came back, joined the NRA, and when he retired at the rank of a colonel, that's when he joined RDC, and finally coming to parliament in 2016. Are really enormous, and just like I told you, about 2 places were selected, and finally it was agreed that taken to Arua Primary School playgrounds, and paying last homage really to the. And one of the reasons is that, of course, he was a loved man, and the people were very many. They could not all be accommodated at his home. They will mainly be members of parliament and his relatives who will be allowed into his home to pay. Broadcast coming to you live from Arua, and of at the airfield, and his body is being transported to his home. And of course, Congo Buga Saidi, who was also shot in the same day, 300 meters away from his home. And his body right now, of course, is being just close to a presidential state in Anyafio. From there will be a vigil tonight for a few selected people that can. I told you his place is not that shared, and the access will only be and his colleagues in the same line, and relatives, and of course here and there probably their neighbors. So if you do not have a chance to attend the night vigil, a prayer session tomorrow morning, which is Monday the 11th at Arua Primary School, to pay their last respect to the late Ibrahim Abiriga. But Abiriga was actually a member of parliament after was his first term in parliament, the RDC for Arua district, which is his home district later until 2016. The contested election in Arua district as Arua is and what you can see, there is really a lot of congestion on the road. The ambulance also has, they will also probably take some good the program for now. And this organizing committee in Kampala, Honorable Obiga Kania, is that his home once they arrive today, and tomorrow Monday prayers held for him at Arua Primary School playground. Final resting place will be in Rhino Camp Sub-County, Lower Madi constituency. Profile of who the late Ibrahim Abiriga, 56 and 62nd birthday this year, and he was born in West Nile district, which is now Arua district, in 1970. After the overthrow of Idi Amin in 1979, Abiriga fled to in exile. He was part of the front UNRF. Alright, and in exile he was part of the rebel group of the Uganda National Rescue Front in He left the NRF and joined Museveni's NRA, and were mostly formed into the 73rd Battalion. And he retired from active military service in 1990 at the rank of a colonel. And in 2001, President Museveni appointed him as the resident district commissioner.
Have always been killed in West Nile. As they reach to city, they come home dead. And yet, these are the people who are to lead the government. And as the government convinces them to go there, they come home dead. Yet, they are supposed to come and serve citizens of this nation. I wish West Nile is a nation of this one. There is nothing like security in Uganda. Abiriga is dead. Do you imagine Abiriga, Koko, Bamuze? The way these people have died is a way which is unexpected. But to me, I see West Nile, they are all going to be finished. If this is how the attack is.
Some of the sentiments from the people there, and we are sure that there will be many, many more sentiments of that nature, because of course death does not segregate, but it happens to all of us. So it's unfortunate, and we react differently to the unfortunate incidents. But that's the crowd there in Arua district, and we are straight from the airfield. He's being transported to his home, which is just close to the presidential state lodge in Arua district. And I was just giving you a brief background profile of Abiriga, appointed the resident district commissioner of Arua district to become RDC in Yumbe district, and in 2016 he was elected MP. June 8th was gunned down by unknown assailants. Alright, pictures coming to you live from Arua, leading to his home in Anyafio, Arua, close to the Presidential State Lodge in Arua district. And of course, as you can see, the people are many, the sentiments are, of course, people are really and a rather unfortunate incident, but from there will be a night vigil tonight, and in his home, because the masses are really large and not everybody can fit. Those who will access will majorly be members of parliament, relatives, and a few selected people. But you know, Abiriga, the emotions really attached really show what he was in community and what he had done for society. Second birthday in May, and had plans of retiring from being a member of parliament. His first time being a member of parliament in 2016 when he won the election. That will take long, of course, to diminish from the minds, from his shoes, to make sure the color, and this created, of course, both hatred and love from people of different political. He was a die-hard and staunch supporter for the ruling party, and was a presidential age limit bill last year in the famed Tojikwata Parliament, later appended to by the president in December. Abiriga was once arrested for urine at the Ministry of Finance, just a few meters from Parliament. But an honest man like he, has been talked about by his, agreed in court that he had indeed committed the crime, and he paid the fine of about 40,000 shillings, and he was set free. Of course, Abiriga was also recognized during the when the president awarded him with Black Sun, of course in support for the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. He had actually also promised, because they were black, and Abiriga'S also, he was a retired rank of Colonel, which he did join the force in 1971 during Idi Amin. And at the time of his death, he was with his brother, Congo Bugas, who had just returned from Somalia. And on the request, his brother was handed to him to provide security or to act as a bodyguard, and this not to. But Abiriga preferred to at times just drive himself in his. On that day, he incidentally was driving himself, and the driver's seat. At the time, they were shot dead. That's about between 6:30 to 7 p.m. a few meters close to his home in Kawanda. The next day, the president, of course, visited the family and members of course, Parliament, and many other. The family, on the real day of the incident, we saw General J.J. Odong there, we saw Honorable Odiga Kanya, Minister Lydia Wanyoto, of course, representing the females, or the ladies in the NRM, was also there. Honorable Bana, Honorable Elijah Okupa. These were people who were there at the scene till late in the day, and visited the home and promised his family members, his relatives, that the killers are found and brought to book to pay for their sins. And of course also tasked the security agencies to expedite and ensure that the public is also kept informed about the proceedings of the incident. Of course, just like I told you, there are other earlier incidents. Reports have come out so far, and murder of the late Andrew Felix Kawesi, assistant the spokesperson for the Uganda Police Force, and we also had the murder of the state prosecutor Joan Kagezi, and and the State of the Nation address did mention that all these crimes have been, have a link to the areas that was weakened in the villages, and that's why they are there and tension. But he promised that this will be dealt with. Heroes Day celebrations on the 9th of June, which was yesterday. Who will be found to involve themselves in this kind of crime. And of course, earlier today there was a special parliament, and members paid their last tributes to the late Honorable Abiriga. Made a few comments here and there for those who knew him and those who interacted with him, despite disagreements and ideology disagreements. Most of them see is a really friendly person, the NRM, and having the NRM ideology in his mind. And the position was insisting that a lot has to be done in the country, not just for the high-profile people or members of parliament. Public needs to be assured that they are safe, and also came up and said that these people idiots, and saying cowardly acts needs to stop, because cowards cannot while they are killing people. They have turned out to be serious killers. And we also have Honorable Paul Miro, who was saying that you can, but not in uniform. And at the crime scene, of course, then were in uniform. And if you take a look at Honorable, and he said, why are killers so bold and daring? Must be a problem. And how many people own guns in this country? Where are these? All this. We have also comments from politics. We should put our feet down and say, we have special sittings after the reading budget. Safety of people in the country. Honorable Ephraim Kamoto said, how I wish and witness the respect this house has honored him with, and he was a man with an honorable. Well, he did sing a farewell song to the late Honorable Abiriga, and he says he will always be alive. Of course, Honorable Sam Rakozo commented saying, post on Facebook, Honorable Rakozo was bringing, Facebook post from Jane Cooley, which indicated that first week of June, and the speaker also, of course, confirmed that this message on her phone. Now, this Facebook message previously. It was showing that someone had predicted that the Honorable Abiriga would die. Moses Baliek, of course, said an attack on Honorable Abiriga is an attack on Parliament, and an attack put in place a committee to handle these security issues. While speaking, of course, Honorable Echweru was so sentimental, and he did mention be down to earth no matter the wealth they have accumulated. Has been a down to earth man. Honorable Echweru also and promised that he has long and he I beg your pardon, he says Abiriga suffered in exile and promised that people was to be sent into exile, to be forced into exile again, and he says let's people into exile. Honorable Bright Ramirama prayed a hand and searching information, and he did promise that information will be handled and the killers will be brought to book. Honorable Atuhire well commented and said we shouldn't organs to enable them do their work to the best. The police in Kawanda didn't have motorcycles to Honorable Baguma Spelanza said there is a lot of negative information on social media. Abiriga. Unfortunately, most of this information is from the house, is from this house. Oula George also said Honorable Abiriga believed he would pray 5 times and fasted. He believed in his kids. He moved with his 2 kids almost everywhere, and thank God they would have also been killed.
Thank you.
And these are comments that I'm bringing to you, of course, that were made in Parliament. There was an early 3 p.m., of course, a special sitting to honor the late Honorable. Reacting differently, of course, to the news, and they were giving their views on what they knew about Abiriga. And Honorable Kaluya Andrew said Abiriga's death is a message to this country and this leadership. Honorable Beatrice at us as leaders, and whatever we are saying here is all the family of the late Honorable Abiriga and Ugandans at large, not to add Francis Muzuchi. I did mention what he said earlier. Honorable Janet Katar has said it is okay to the country because it's its responsibility to protect the people. However, we should also have a responsibility to ensure safety of everyone. Mutebi David said there is no amount of disagreement that can force us into treating each other. Like I told you, during the State of the Nation address, the President and the Security Minister did mention being linked to members of the ADF, and the leader of the ADF, of course, Jamel Mukulu, was captured in Tanzania and is currently in detention, and his court case is ongoing here. The President and, of course, the Security Minister are linked to the ADF, and he did promise at the home of the late Heroes Day speech that the people involved in this crime will be found for their deeds. Just to remind you, of course, now those are pictures coming to you. People don't seem to agree with by the officials there, and as you can see, they are who was trying to talk to them to let the ambulance go through, because right now there is, which means that they will likely reach the Abiriga'S home very late to the Presidential State Lodge in Arua in Anyafio. Final resting place will be Lukudu Village in Rhino Camp Sub-County, that's Lower Mud.
But like this one, if they could allow. Yeah, it is to be taken home. Is it coming now? It is. Kachi, give space a bit. Come, fast come. So you tell those people I'm going to be moving when I'm getting there. You'll be with us here. They will come and
Those are pictures coming to you from Arua. Our teams. The detail that will happen, of course, in our subs. And as you can see, there is seemingly a disagreement on how, because the people are really many, the sentiments are at the bit of tempers, so. And you did see an exchange, of course, between provide or create space for this the late Abiriga'S home. But then, of course, the people also, because probably they are sure they will not be able to get access to the home, is not sufficient for all those numbers of people. So just a few of them will be allowed in there, maybe a few selected friends, but for the rest of them, there will be primary school playground. This is information that we very here in Kampala and in Arua district. We will also be able to give it to you as and when it comes in. The procession, of course, started today with tribute at 7 o'clock in the morning in Parliament, and comments here and there were shared on the life and times of the late Ibrahim Abiriga in Parliament, and of course associated Parliament, and everyone had one or two many things to talk about him. Well, it seemingly there seems you can see what is happening.
We don't want anything. Wait here. I thought that he could be at the middle of the road.
I can look for a discipline there. Abiriga.
is Honorable Betty Nambozi trying to cause a bit of chaos here. Honorable Abiriga.
Started now. They've started. If I will hit one, they will say I'm a partner. The reason why I went to school or to pursue diploma certificate is because the diploma of the UCU, these people are not certified. I said no, we are paying that course even for 2 years. These things I got them through the articles of the president for the Republic of Ghana. I saw them at and they were clear papers. The label rejected them. Said the brigadier, don't worry, I'm appointing you RDC. Go and continue studying seriously.
I can look for a disciplined Abiriga.
Honorable Betty Nambozi trying to cause a bit of chaos here. Honorable Abiriga.
Started now. They've started. If I will hit one, they will say I'm a partner.
Pictures coming to you from Arua. Of course, people there are demanding to see the body of the late Honorable Member of Parliament, Ibrahim Abiriga. And as you can see, they are turning rowdy, and they have actually opened one of the ambulance cars that is carrying the body of the late Ibrahim Abiriga. Really, it's a difficult situation for also the security forces that are there, because the people are many. And as you can see, they have actually pulled out the body from the ambulance, and we are not sure what they're going to do with it, but probably they want to walk with it until they take it home. And that, Arua's the late Ibrahim Abiriga'S home country. They demanded that the trucks stop and the be removed, as you can see on the screen. Letting them do what they want and sticking to the initial plan. They are no longer sticking to the initial plan because the people, or what you can say, demanded, and they have finally achieved their demand from the cars, and they are walking with them. They will probably walk them to the home of the late Honorable.
That is Honorable Betty Nambozi trying to cause a bit of chaos here. Honorable Abiriga.
They started now. They've started it. If I will hit one, they will say I'm a barber. The reason why I went to school or to pursue diploma certificate is because the diploma of UCU, these people are not certified with it. I said no, we are telling that for even for 2 years. These things I got them through the advice of the president, the Republic of Ghana. I showed my papers to him. You never rejected them.
Coming to you live from Arua district, and like you did see, of course, the residents there have demanded to have the bodies of the two, his brother Congo Buga Saidi, removed from the ambulance vehicles that were chauffeuring them to, and they are, taking them on. They have just decided to carry them and probably take them earlier. Is that all those numbers of people would not be able to, would not be accommodated at the home of the late Abiriga, but that is what is happening now, just like you can see. And of course the residents were many, they were demanding, and they just had to let them, get satisfied. Apart from that, later in the day, of course, there will be a night vigil tonight at the late Abiriga'S home, and that is at his home, and it's just close to the presidential state. And their final resting place will be in Lukudu village, Eramba parish, Rhino Camp sub-camp. And Abiriga, like I told you earlier, he was a loved man. And the people who actually were really waiting for them to be brought to the airfield in Arua. And with that, we will now take a short break and return to normal programming, but be sure to catch these and more scenes in our subsequent bulletins. Stay tuned to NTV.